All right, so if you look here, you can see that there's a thin bead of glue going all the way around this tube and around this tube. That makes these connect almost like a rope. So that's real important if you want good connection with the hot glue, because the hot glue isn't as sticky as other glue, so it can pull apart much more easily. But if you have it in a shape that actually holds the parts together, it will be much more stable. So we already have our base. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a tower with the supporting piece. The back wheel is going to go here. The front wheel is going to go around here. I want it to be adjustable so that if you need to fix the car, you could angle it. And because of that, we're going to leave a little bit of room between the support for the tower and the front. So I'm using the same marks that I used for the scaffolding between the main tubes that form the body of the car, which is 4 centimeters in. So we're going to use the same things for setting up the tower. Also, I have a piece of paper which gives me right angles, so as I'm setting up the tower, I can use this to try to make sure I'm mounting the pieces straight. I'm going to start off with just a very thin piece of hot glue. The thinner it is, the more quickly it will cool down. So I'm just setting the piece where I want it and trying to make sure that it's as straight as I can get. I should use the side of the paper that's machined. It looks fairly straight. I'm going to put the next piece in. Again, I'm going to try to make sure these are as straight as possible. I should be more specific. I'm trying to create right angles with the plane of the ground. The word for this is normal. So they're normal to the plane of the surface this car is on. Now that I have that, I'm going to put the supports in. So again, just a small dab of the hot glue to originally set it. And then here it's really important to make sure that it's straight, because once I set this tube in, it's going to be very difficult to change that shape. Using the right angle edge of the paper to make sure this is pretty much straight. Looks reasonably good. And then I'm going to put this across to complete that structure. And then I will put one more piece here. Did you press pause? Okay, so I got that part, which will go. Just put it right there, and that should complete the car. Before I do that, I'm gonna check the alignment one more time. It looks reasonably straight. Consideration, if I did adjust the alignment by putting a piece here, there would always be some tension on the other pieces, so that could backfire as well. So If it's close enough to being straight, you can just leave it as is. And now this part, we'll set up the car so that the main part of the frame is fixed in position. The only thing left to do is go back over each of these parts to make the hot glue a little bit more stable by wrapping those thin beads around each part. But we have now the main body of the car. And again, to make the hot glue more stable, you can just wrap a thin bead around it. And do that for each one of those tubes where they're being connected. So that way there's, oops, looks like I'm gonna have to go back and re-secure that tube. So that's a good example of why it is important to have a good glue job. We're going to have to wait for the hot glue to cool down before we go back to those other joints, but I think hopefully you get the idea from this. And at this point you'll be able to, next step will be to attach wheels and a pulley for your rubber band to go over.